We are smack in the middle of a creative revolution. Artificial intelligence can now generate just stunning art. It can write compelling stories, even compose music. But this explosion of machine creativity, it's slammed right into a wall of laws that are centuries old, and it raises a really fascinating and frankly urgent question that we're going to unpack right now.
So, let's just get right to it. This is the heart of the matter. When a machine creates a masterpiece, who gets to own it, if anyone? As you're about to see, the answer is way more complex, and honestly, a lot more surprising than you might think.
Okay, so before we dive headfirst into all the legal questions, let's just take a second to appreciate what this technology can actually do. It's not just about creating brand new things from scratch. AI has also become this incredibly powerful tool for breathing new life into our own history.
Yeah, this process is often called AI video upscaling. And what's happening is that machine learning models are analyzing old, kind of blurry footage and then intelligently generating new pixels. They're essentially rebuilding the image at a much, much higher resolution. It's how an old home movie or a piece of historical film can suddenly look like it was shot yesterday on brand new equipment. It's pretty incredible. And that same tech works wonders on photos too. By training on literally millions of color photos, an AI can look at a black and white picture and make these incredibly educated guesses about what the original colors were. And we're not just talking about, slapping on some color filter. This is a really intelligent process of digital restoration.
Right, and this isn't just some minor software update. Like the quote says, deep learning, which is a type of AI that kind of mimics the human brain's neural network, it has totally changed the game. It's turning AI from a simple tool into a powerful creative partner. And that right there is exactly where the legal trouble starts.
So now, let's look at a real-world test case where this brand new technology just collided with some very old laws. This graphic novel, Zarya of the Dawn, it really became the flashpoint for this entire debate over AI and copyright.
So, here's how it all went down. Back in September 2022, an author named Kristina Kashtanova got a copyright for her graphic novel. The catch? All the images were made using the AI art generator Midjourney. Well, when the US Copyright Office got wind of this, they decided to take another look. And by February 2023, they had actually reversed part of their own decision, which set a huge precedent.
So what the Copyright Office came back with was this really interesting split decision. They said, okay, the parts of the work that were clearly Kashtanova's creation, those are protected. We're talking about the text she wrote and the creative way she arranged everything on the page. But the individual images themselves were not protected. The office's ruling said they were, and I'm quoting here, not the product of human authorship.
And this whole ruling, it all boils down to a single legal principle that has been the absolute bedrock of U.S. copyright law for more than 100 years.
Which, of course, brings us right back to our big question. If the person who came up with the ideas and wrote the prompts doesn't own the copyright to the images that came out, then who does? And here is the truly surprising answer. In the United States, nobody does. A work that is generated solely by an AI, even if it's from a human's text prompt, is legally considered to have no author. And that means it falls directly into the public domain, free for anyone to use, copy, or do whatever they want with it. The key legal concept here is something called human authorship. See, the U.S. Constitution gives copyright protection to authors, and for centuries, the courts have consistently said that an author has to be a human being. A machine, an animal, heck, even a divine spirit. None of them can be considered an author under current U.S. law.
But it's really important to know that this isn't a settled issue around the world. Not at all. While the U.S. has this super strict human-only rule, other countries are taking a completely different path. The United Kingdom, for example, they explicitly recognize computer-generated works and they grant the copyright to the person who made the arrangements for the work to be created. It's a totally different approach.
And the question of who owns the final artwork, that's just one piece of this massive puzzle. There's another, arguably even bigger, legal fight brewing over what the AI learns from in the first place.
So up until now, we've mostly been focused on what's called the output problem. Who owns the art the AI makes? But now, the courts are really starting to grapple with the input problem. And that is the fact that these AI models are trained on billions of images and texts scraped from the internet, a lot of which are protected by copyright.
So the AI companies, their argument is that using all this data for training is fair use. That's a legal concept that allows for limited use of copyrighted material without permission for things like research or transformation. They claim they're just transforming the data into a whole new system. But creators and artists are filing lawsuits left and right, arguing it's just theft on a massive scale. They're saying their work is being used to train a system that could end up replacing them. This is the huge legal gray area that's being fought out in court right now.
And to really wrap your head around that output debate, this analogy is perfect. On one side, you have people arguing that an AI is just a really sophisticated tool, kind of like a camera. The human user is making all the key creative choices with their prompts. But the US Copyright Office, they see it differently. They argue it's more like commissioning an artist. You give some general directions, but the artist, or in this case the AI, is the one making the final expressive choices that actually create the image.
So where does all this leave us? Well, to be honest, we're in a moment of pretty profound uncertainty. We're in a place where the technology is advancing far, far faster than the legal system can possibly keep up.
And that brings us to the fundamental question, right? As AI gets more and more sophisticated, evolving from just a novelty into a legitimate tool, the line between a human creator and a machine collaborator is getting blurrier every single day. The legal decisions that are made in the next few years, they're not just going to shape the future of copyright, they might end up shaping the very definition of what it means to be creative.